Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm here with my protege, Marshall the King Charles Cavalier, who's awake this week, which makes a nice change. All right, Marshall, time for Daddy to get to work. All right, guys, drop in the chat and let me know you're listening. We've got quite a lot of content to go through today. I've made it quite an info-packed session. The last few weeks have been, the feedback's been really positive. We haven't had a guest on in a while. We've got a couple of guests lined up with the episodes coming up next week and the week after. So in this one, I wanted to give as much value as I could. Excuse me. And the lead generation is the topic which people have been asking me about the most. So I have got some things to go through with you. While I'm setting the stream up, the slides, drop in the chat and let me know which city are you tuning in from. This is your chance to represent your hood. Drop in the chat. Hey Akash, how you doing? We should see the chats come up from LinkedIn, YouTube and Facebook. Hey David, welcome back, mate. Good to see you. So we've got some people from LinkedIn. Who we got on from YouTube? Let me know in the comments. Drop in the chat and let me know which city you're representing. Gonna give you some time for the chats to come through. Paul, my man, welcome. Starting to come through now. I wonder how we should best display this. We'll try it from that. Hey, Joanne, welcome from Perth. Matt from the Gold Coast, welcome back, mate. All right, I'll try to see if I can make this bigger. That doesn't work, does it? All right, we'll try it like this. I might switch back as we go, depending on where we're at in the presentation. The cash has been following for 2 years. Good man. How much money have you made? All right, guys, let's crack into it. Got a lot of content. Represent your city and let us know where you're tuning in from. At the moment, we've got a couple of guys from Facebook. We've got a couple from LinkedIn. Come on, where's my YouTubers at? I know some of you are watching on the big screen on your couch, family viewing, but some of you must be logged in. Let me know from YouTube. Drop in. Theo, how you doing? Welcome. Alrighty, okay, cool. All right, I'll get started. All right, so before we get into the content, I want to just make a shout out to my sponsors, Restream, who sponsor Monday Night Live. That's the software that I'm streaming to you live on at the moment. You can stream live to 30 channels. And as you can see, the comments will pop up as you're going live. I think from my experience, live video has been one of the most powerful things from organic content marketing. So I encourage you all to check that out. If you do go to get Restream, use the promo code BIBIMedia25 and you'll get a discount of, I believe, 25% or thereabouts. That's restream.io. Hey, Michelle from Perth, Michelle White. And Akash, you're in San Diego, are you? Who else we got on the call, guys? I can see a lot more numbers than I can comments. Drop in the comments. Don't be shy. Don't be shy, guys. I won't bite. Where are you from? Where are you from? Drop in the comments, guys. I want to see a bit more interaction. Seems a decent bit of kit. It's a big mother, isn't it? Oh, from Kenya. Welcome, Benedict. Are you talking about Restream? Well, I'm not sure if you're talking about the microphone or the Restream. The microphone is a bit bulky, isn't it? But All right, so for those of you that don't know me that well, in terms of like, if you haven't been following my content if you've been following my content for less than 6 months, just very quickly, I just put this in here so it explains why I may or may not know what I'm talking about. I won Best Use of LinkedIn 2019 and 2020 at the Social Media Marketing Awards. The Social Media Marketing Institute ranked me the #1 LinkedIn expert in the Asia Pacific region. Since founding my company, Bibby Consulting Group, we've generated over $400 million in sales for our clients through our LinkedIn lead generation strategy specifically. I founded a course called linkedinsider.com.au. We've got several hundred students on there. I'm the resident LinkedIn expert at Social Media College, and I host web series LinkedIn Heroes, where we featured guests like Jack Delosa, Kerwin Ray, Grant Cardone, guys like this. And I have a series called Ask Nat, where my audience asks me questions and I answer them in short videos. And I also do these weekly Monday Night Live series, which I've been doing for just over a year now. And on Apple and iTunes, you can tune into the Nathaniel Bibby podcast, but you won't get to see my beautiful face if you tune into the audio. Hey, we've got someone from Abu Dhabi. Taha, welcome. Joshua from Melbourne. Melissa Matthews is back again. Amelia, good to hear from you again. We've got Santana on the call. Where are you from, Santana? Drop in the chat. Let us know where you're from. So these are some of my clients, just a handful of them really. I've worked with over 4,000 in 80 different industries. These are some of the bigger ones, I guess, ones you're more likely to recognize. And this is, by the way, with all with LinkedIn marketing strategies. So you'll notice that there's quite a wide range of different types of companies that we can work with for LinkedIn. There's only 706 million members on the platform now. It's growing at 3 members every second. So LinkedIn's not going anywhere. It's owned by Microsoft now, as you may be aware. So becoming a much more relevant platform, and businesses are trying to work out how to reach their customers because they know their attention's on there. Cool, Paul. Paul's on YouTube. Thank you. Representing the YouTube. Shush, Marshall. Just a couple of outcomes for today, I guess. I talk about 100 leads in 100 days. These are actually some tangible examples. Christian's got a video marketing agency in Melbourne, and within 30 days, we managed to generate 100 leads for him and almost doubled his sales revenue. Maureen Lee, we're going to actually talk about Maureen as a case study a bit later on. In a few days, she generated 10 qualified leads with the LinkedIn strategy that we put together. Incredible LinkedIn strategy for the real estate industry, which we'll use as an example in a minute. Love your post on the 4. Thanks, Taha. It's very kind of you. On the 4 essentials of value addition. Yep. And Suya, I hope I pronounced that correctly, from India. Awesome. So the first thing we need to understand before we get into any of the tactics is social media is the only way for us to engage and converse at scale. So if you're not sold on social media, think about it like like networking on steroids and then some. When I started on social media marketing, I was a member of a networking group with 20 professionals in it, and we used to give referrals to each other each week. And when I come across LinkedIn, I was thinking to myself, why on earth am I here going to meet the same 23 people when I can grow my network? The limit is 706 million now. It was a few hundred million back then, but it potential is absolutely huge, and it's no different. So it's just a matter of transferring those networking skills that we developed for many years offline onto the online platform, and adding value, just like Taha said, it's got a lot to do with it. I talk about this a lot, but most marketers fail because they're selfish and impatient. Well, when I say most marketers, most humans are, well, we're all selfish and impatient. It's actually something that we've got to learn to develop our skills of patience, develop our skills of empathy, and it's something that will fare you well in social media marketing. We all want to get rich quick, and you can see with a lot of the thumbnails on YouTube, or a lot of the headlines for blog articles, they're all like, the 7 ways for you to make $1 million, or the 4-hour work week. The 4-hour work week. Well, what a load of shit that is. Excuse my French, but yeah, if you think that social media marketing, if you think that growing a business, if you think that any of this stuff is going to be easy, then you're mistaken. It's going to take hard work, and it's going to take being unselfish, thinking about your consumer, reverse engineering what they want, and being patient to first of all learn how they want to consume information, how they want to purchase your product, how to make your product constantly make it better, and better serve your market. Because if you think you're just going to get it right the first time, then you're just going to go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and you'll never actually add any value to any particular market. So you've got to be patient. I'll try and slow down a little bit. I've been told I've been talking a little bit too fast in these lives. Sometimes when I say to business professionals or do a talk like for, financial services companies sometimes, or I shouldn't single them out, should I? But professionals, in the corporate world, and I say, it's not about you. It's not about promoting your products. It's not about making transactions. It's about adding value and creating a community that your audience want to be a part of. And this is the sort of response I get. What are you talking about? What do you mean it's not about me? What do you mean it's not about, I want to talk about this. Well, what you want to talk about is not necessarily what, you can't have the audacity to think that people are going to want to hear about it. So it's actually about reverse engineering what the customer wants. So getting over that hurdle of thinking to yourself, my social media for my business has to be all about my products and services. That's not true at all. It has to be about what your customers are interested in. Like a real estate agency is a great example. You go to a real estate agency page, most of the time, what do you see? You see new listing, we've just listed this property, we've just hired this staff, here we are at Christmas drinks. It's all about them. Whereas the real estate agencies that are doing extremely well with their social media, they're like sponsoring the local footy club. They're posting what are the 7 things you can do during lockdown to promote health and well-being. They're posting about like workout routines, things that actually aren't relevant to their necessarily what they do day to day. And they post the real estate stuff as well, don't get me wrong, but it's about the community that they're creating, because not everybody is going to want to sell their house today. And in the meantime, you want to like nurture that community, create that community so that when they do want to sell their house, you're the first brand that they think of. That's where social media fits in to the marketing mix. Okay, guys, I'm going to get you to participate a little bit here. I want you to drop in the comments, whatever platform you're on, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, where have you found so far in your business the most effective for lead generation? And it doesn't have to be necessarily one of the options up here. These are just some examples. But has it been, social media? Has it been word of mouth, Google ads, Facebook ads, SEO, YouTube, TV or radio, cold calling, billboards, magazine ads, door knocking, fridge magnets, networking? You drop in the comments and let me know where you've had the most success, where you found most effective so far in your business, so we can get a bit of an understanding of what sort of experience each of you have had on the call, so and it will help me drive the content home a bit better, I expect. Amelia says social media and word of mouth. Yeah, I mean, that's great. Word of mouth, social media it's like word of mouth on steroids, isn't it? It's like world of mouth. So it's great if you can integrate those two. LinkedIn prospecting, well done, Taha. Wedding expos and Google, says Joanne Ross Wells. Yeah, it's interesting. Like expos can be really effective if they've got the right audience there, can't they? Marshall, shush. Word of mouth. But haven't tried any other avenues. Okay, all right, we'll keep moving. Cold calling using the phone, but that has died during COVID. Your famous quote: "Social media leads to relationships. Relationships leads." Oh, Amber, someone's paying attention. Oh, thanks. That's awesome. Okay, so consumers are bombarded with marketing messages every single day. 3,500 to 5,000 marketing messages. So what's happened is, in the old days, we would have attention, and when it moved from being on buildings and newspapers onto TV, all these brands were just like, I'll spend more money, compete for the better spots, and I'll show show my ads more frequently to people so that they will buy my brand. And they'll probably, like, quite often they'll lose money competing for that attention, but eventually they'll make profit in the long run. And as the platforms like TV, for example, have become more competitive, the marketers, the advertisers are just stuffing so much in there that it's become less effective. And the less effective it's become, the more they're trying to stuff these messages in. And you can see, like, this is I think that's Times Square, isn't it? It's just, logos and stuff everywhere. These days there is actually a lot more mediums where people's attention are. I mean, it's still on TV, like it's spread out. But what you want to do is look for places that you can cut through the noise and stand out. And like social media is still a very new, well, it's a very evolving space. Like, it's still very immature. People are going there to find news and information, and so it is a place that you can cut through the noise with like proper storytelling or adding value relatively easily without investing a huge amount. So it's leveled the playing field quite a lot. In some respects, social media lends itself better to small businesses than it does the big brands, because it's all about authenticity, and the big brands are generally used to like spending a lot of money on like one ad to serve a huge market, whereas like serving niche markets with like lots of different kinds of content that's more relevant is way more effective. Now, we're not going to talk a huge amount about content today, but it is a big part of generating leads. These days, we don't have a choice on whether we do social media. If anybody's not sure about that statement, please do let me know in the comments, because it's very important to agree on this before we go any further. I used to spend about half of my presentation convincing people that social media was important. It was this 5 years ago, only 5 years ago. Now I spend very little time, like a lot less time, because I just believe that it's more of a widespread understanding. But I will say that the question is how well we do it, because I do think that at least 80% of small businesses aren't doing social media correctly, and that's just mainly because they haven't invested the time and resources in understanding the way that their audience wants to consume content online, and so that'll evolve. But by the time it evolves, it will become more competitive and less effective. But that's okay. The opportunity is now for sure. Hey, Jermaine, welcome. To be successful at social media, you need to be able to build a relationship with somebody. Who was it that just said that before? Was that Amber, was it? Or Marshall, stop. Yeah, it's Amber. Yeah, social media creates conversations creates relationships, and relationships could create sales, right? If you know how to create a proper relationship with somebody. And so if you struggle doing it offline, you're going to struggle doing it online, mainly because it's so obvious if you're looking at what's in it for you when you try to converse with somebody. And so getting that mindset right, so that you're looking at adding value to a certain individual with a certain kind of problem, and you don't want to piss anyone else off in the process, it makes a big difference. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. What's going on here? What have I done? I pressed something by accident. Marshall, stop growling, mate. You always do it when I'm on the Zoom meetings, bro. Okay? It's that time of night. Marshall's getting a bit restless. Okay, so with social media, it's important to set up your profiles effectively. So if you're going to be using LinkedIn, which, as you know, a lot of you know, is my favorite platform for lead generation, then you want to make sure your profile is optimized. The most important part of your LinkedIn profile is your photograph. Okay, so a professional photograph will go a long way. There's a lot of talk of, the phones that have come out these days. Yes, they have great cameras, but a professional photographer will be able to get like a lot, capture it in the right lighting, and it's worth investing in, because that's where people's eyes go first. So if you haven't got the photograph done professionally, I'd encourage you to do so. Depending on what industry you're in, you may want to just consider like what kind of photograph might make you stand out from the crowd. I think Ashwin's does that quite effectively. I mean, he's a financial advisor, but I think the photograph's a little bit different to what some of the other people in his industry, would have. I quite like that photograph. you'll notice with both of these profiles, they've optimized their headline so it's got relevant key phrases in it. So if somebody's searching for a mentor, they may not go onto Google and search through all the ads to try and find a mentor that they don't know and they don't know anyone that knows them. They might go on LinkedIn, search for mentor, and what they'll see is people who are already in their existing network show up first, and then they'll see people in their second degree network. So they'll see mentors that know people that they know, which could be like an implied referral. So if let's say, for example, I'm searching for a mentor, I'm connected with Ashwin's connected to Craig. I could reach out to Craig and say, hey, notice you know Ashwin as well. I'd love to connect. I may even want to ask Ashwin, if he's worked with Craig as a mentor. But this will be happening on scale. What's actually going to happen is you're going to see probably 12 connections, or 50 connections that are mentors that you're already connected to. Then you're going to see hundreds of people that are in your second degree network. So it just gives you a lot more visibility over who's in the local area that you can do business with. So optimizing can be important if you think people will be using LinkedIn to search for what you do. They won't be searching for every single profession. So you just got to be mindful of what people are likely to be searching for. Now, let's get some more water here. If people aren't searching on LinkedIn for what you do, you want to use a headline as a place to describe what you do in the benefit of the customer. So you may notice like some profiles may say something along the lines of, I help professionals achieve financial freedom through smart investing, or I help businesses who want a better return on investment from their website. That kind of thing. So it explains what you do rather than just going CEO of XYZ company, which may not be descriptive or tell people exactly what it is you do and whether or not you can help them. People interact with things that resonate with them on a personal level. So whether or not you're in business to consumer or you're business to business, people are going to interact with content and messages that interact with them on a personal level. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is like, if you're going to do lead generation on LinkedIn, for example, do you reach out through a company page or a personal profile? And my answer is personal profile, because people interact with things that resonate with them on a personal level. And so when you share content and thoughts and ideas that make them curious and want to know more, and they release dopamine and endorphins and brain chemicals that give them a positive experience, then they're likely to want to follow you. They're likely to be curious about what you do. And that's what you want to achieve with social media and content marketing. If you tell people everything, then they don't need to know more. They don't have that curiosity. So that's a big mistake that you can make on social media, is trying to just dump too much information into the platform. Excuse me. People can't consume it. You lose that curiosity. People interact with things that resonate with them on a personal level. So if you're trying to explain anything or a concept or something that may not be familiar to some of the people in your audience, try and think of a metaphor or a story you can use to describe that particular experience, and you'll reach more people with the post. I hope that makes sense. Some of you who've been watching my content for a while would know about the mere exposure effect. Marshall, stop chewing the light and the camera, mate. Mere exposure effect is a psychological phenomenon by which people tend to develop a preference for things merely because they are more familiar with them. In social psychology, this effect is sometimes called the familiarity principle. So basically, in 10, 15 years ago, if we were exposed to a brand 4 or 5 times, we would be familiar enough with them to choose them over the next brand. So like, for example, if you saw 5 Coca-Cola billboards every day for 10 years and you didn't see the same volume of Pepsi billboards, you're more likely to buy Coca-Cola because it's more familiar. Same thing happens with your personal brand, your business. These days, you do need a lot more exposures. It's more like 25 exposures. So I think about social media, like how can I get 25 exposures in front of my target audience so they, I build that likability, I build that trust, so they're more likely to do business with me than the next service provider, and it works extremely well. So I just brought in some statistics. February 15th to February 15th. Excuse me. I believe this is over 2 years. Yes, it's over 2 years. So 1.684 million views on LinkedIn content. These are the stats. I did 1,320 posts and 41,139 likes over 2 years. I've just got some great software that I'd highly recommend checking out called Shield, which actually gets a lot of this data out of LinkedIn for you, so you can find out which one of your posts get the most engagement, which kind of posts got the most views. Check out Shield, SHIELD.ai. I highly recommend it. They're not a sponsor or a partner or anything like that. Just thought I'd share with you one of the resources I've come across. Some of you may be familiar with the 4 ways to add value through content. This is an example of a inspiration post hitting a milestone. This one would happen to be 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And, you know, I didn't used to talk about a lot of these things early on because I thought it was boasting and stuff. But I just noticed, like, when I do celebrate a milestone or award, people do engage with it a lot more. I guess it connects with, you know, the goals and things that they aspire to as well. If they're part of their community, one thing they all share in common is they're connected with you. So I think it's important to celebrate the wins. And yeah, I have a glass of wine in my picture when I do it. Education. Excuse me. We see a lot of this on LinkedIn. So educating your audience, to try and keep it like quite, don't go too specific and start educating people like who may have to be, you know, like it's a good example. If you are in, like you could end up creating content quite easily that it's so like specific to your industry that it's just only people that might be interested in it might be your competitors. You need to go higher level so that your customers understand it. And somebody did say, Taha did say in the comments, great comment, Taha, about posting about the problems. You know, if you create a story that relates to the target audience and ties the issue with the problem, then they're more likely to understand it, because if they knew the solution, they would have solved the problem. Therefore, they wouldn't have it in the first place. So you don't just want to dive straight into the solution and say, you know, your website needs to know these 4 things. Well, why do I need to know those 4 things? Well, you know, does your website go down twice a year? Oh yeah, mine does that. Well, these are the 4 things you need to know. So it's just about getting people to buy into why they need to consume the content in the first place. On LinkedIn, you get the caption before the video. So the caption is important, really important. You notice I've got subtitles in all my videos. Information, share valuable information. If there's news that comes out, like LinkedIn Stories was just announced, you can write off the back of like the story by posting an article about it. This particular article was quoted in a couple of news publications just because it was one of the first articles that came out about stories. Entertainment works incredibly well on LinkedIn in particular, but across all channels, you know, entertainment is a big one. So we missed a few comments here. Website. Some great feedback here, guys. All right, let's keep going. How are we going for time? Oh yeah, it'll probably be another 10 minutes, I reckon. Is the sound coming through, guys?
You can trust with your life or your daughter. The skills and information security are extremely valuable. Skills like vulnerability assessment, network security, and computer forensics.
I don't know if you guys are getting the audio on this.
Your data will be taken.
But I was just showing a LinkedIn profile video that was this guy won a competition where this particular actor from Taken did the profile video for him. I'm not sure if the audio works. Amber, do I use TikTok? No, I don't. No, I've looked into it. I've decided not to spend my time there. Looks like a lot of the TikTok creators, they're very talented, but they post to shoot like a lot as well, which I don't have the time and resources to do. Excuse me. With your posts, asking questions and encouraging people to comment will make a big difference. Here's an example. Optimize for mobile. Like you see it when I write a post and these short sentences and they're spaced out like into paragraphs. It's because most people are reading on a mobile device. So if you post so it's easy to read, it makes people consume the content quicker. Whereas if they have to start and they lose where they're at, they're less likely to get the same reaction. It's not that loud. Yeah, I didn't think the audio was coming through properly. Where you guys, Facebook and LinkedIn. I'll drop the link in the not getting the sound now. There's a bit of a delay, isn't there? I'm just seeing these comments come through now. Well, look, it's just a bit of fun, that particular video. What I'm going to do is share the link in LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube so you guys can have a bit of a laugh after the session, but we won't let it hold us up. Come here, buddy. Ugh. Marshall. All right, this is Dean. He, after 30 days, was consistently meeting with at least 2 potential clients every day following our outreach system, which I'm about to go through with you. This is Simon Cameron from Amiga Operations, generated over 277 leads. Those are some of the logos of the leads that we generated. Like Simon's targets C-suite executives, a lot of mining companies, a lot of ASX listed companies, particularly good outcome there. So the process that I use for lead generation in terms of outreach is find, connect, and engage. So finding people in your target demographic to connect with, sending them targeted invitations, and then creating opportunities by sending follow-up messages. And so you've got 3 measures there. You've got the number of invitations that you send, the number of people that accept that invitation, which should be the same. You should message the same amount of people. So you connect with them, then you message them, and then you get a number of leads after the message. So the message, you might say to connect with them, you might say, hey, I've noticed your profile. We've got some mutual connections. I'd love to connect. So let's say, for example, you get 50% of the people you send a connection request accept. So you send out 200 requests, you get 100 new connections. And then if you send the 100 new connections a message saying, hey, thank you for connecting. I've noticed that you're in the real estate industry and I help real estate agents with their marketing. I'd love to have a conversation and find out more about what you do, see if I can add some value. Send 100 of those messages. Let's say you get 20 responses, 20 phone calls. So that's 20 leads. That's basically how it all works. So this is how the numbers work. You've got to reverse engineer the numbers. So if you want 100 leads in 100 days, this is at the top here. We want 100 leads, right? And so what we need to know are 2 figures. How many people on average connect with us when we send out an invitation? What's the invite to connect conversion rate? The average I've experienced with the clients that I've worked with is 50%. So you've got to plug in your own. You've got to do 100 connection requests so you can work out what the average is so that you can plug them in. As you grow your network, these numbers will improve, but you want to make everything conservative so you always hit your target. And then from the number of messages that you send, how many people respond with a phone number and are up for a conversation? What's that conversion rate? We've got 3 examples here, A, B, and B, but it should be C. So that's a good conversion rate. It's a great conversion rate. It's an excellent conversion rate. Down the end here, which should be C up here. So we can work out that to get 100 leads, if our invite to connect conversion rate is 40%, if our message to lead conversion rate is 15%, that means we need to send 666 messages. And that means we need to send 1,665 connection requests in 100 days. basically, to get this outcome. Have I lost anyone? Let's jump over to the last column. So if you want 100 leads, you've got a 60% invite to connect conversion rate. That's 60%. And then your message to lead conversion rate is 30%. In that case, you only need to send 333 messages and 555 connection request invitations. I'm just going to stop there for a second and see if I lost anyone. Drop in the comments if you've got any questions on that process, working back from the number of leads you want to generate, knowing what your conversion rates are, and then working out how many invitations you need to send to achieve that in a 100-day period. Does that make sense? Just drop a yes in the comments if it makes sense, or no, explain more if it doesn't. Excuse me, I'm getting a bit of a sore throat. Been talking too much. Come on, guys, drop in the comments. Let me know if that makes sense. All right, cool. We got some people coming in. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Can I see slide on phone? I see. Okay. Makes complete sense. Wicked. All right. So that's how you can work out how to send 100 leads in 100 days. Obviously, there's a lot of lot of things you can do, but I think the most important part of it all is to measure your results. Like you can see with what I just went through, how many people know what their invite to connection conversion rate is? When you know these numbers, you can identify which areas need improvement, so you can isolate the problem areas and improve your results so you can get here. There's no way that you're ever going to get to these numbers, the numbers at the 60%, 30% type of numbers, unless you measure your success, because first of all, you won't even know when you get there, but you won't be able to isolate problem areas. Okay, so let's, and Studio says, please send more slides are not clear. Okay, so this is the process, right? Find, connect, and engage. So we know that if we send 100 invitations and 50% accept, that we're going to get 50 new connections. So we send 100 invitations, we get 50 new connections on LinkedIn. Now, if we send all 50 of those a follow-up message, and let's say, for example, 20% of them are going to respond with a phone number, then we know we've got 10 leads. So what I'm talking about doing is working back from the number of leads that you want, working out the number of messages that you need to send, and then working out the number of new connections that you need to send those messages to, and how many invitations you need to achieve that. So it's just the same as, what you would do when you're doing your report or measuring your success at the end of the month, but you're just reverse engineering it to goal set. Now, we're running out of time, guys, so just quickly, 100 leads in 100 days. 2 weeks ago, I announced that we are offering now a LinkedIn lead generation 100 lead in 100 days guarantee. We guarantee the outcome for the clients that we choose to work with. We've had quite a huge response, which I expected, which has been great. I haven't sent it to my database yet because we've been overthrown with the number of people that want to talk to us about this offer. And what I've decided to do is just be quite picky with who we work with based on who I think we can achieve the result for the easiest and the quickest. Obviously, if we get to the end of 90 days and we've only got 50 leads, then it's going to be up to me and my team to put in more work, to send more invitations, send more messages to get the outcome. So I want to make sure I work with clients that I think are going to do well on LinkedIn. So it's just a matter of working out whether or not it's the right opportunity for your business. But if you are interested in getting us to generate some leads for you, please do get in touch via my LinkedIn profile or what have you. I'm going to check out these comments tonight and tomorrow, so I'll keep an eye on them, so you can always get in touch with me there as well. If any of you are coming to LinkedIn versus Instagram, the virtual experience, please note that the event has been delayed from Thursday. It's now being the Perth event and the virtual event are both on the 25th of March. So the good thing is, if you haven't got a ticket already for, either the live event in Perth or the virtual experience, you've got a bit more time to do that. The Perth event, the live event is almost sold out, but you can get access to the virtual experience at a discount, up until 25th of March. So I encourage you to do that. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in, and I appreciate your comments and feedback as we go along. Appreciate that. And I will see you next week on Monday Night Live. Have a fantastic week in business. Marshall, stop barking. No longer interactive virtual attendees. It's COVID restrictions, Matt, that's caused us to have to delay things. It's been a little bit challenging with third-party service providers and things with the virtual event. So we've got this 5-camera production crew coming to record the whole thing for us. We're going to do... what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Brooke Valinovich to come on Monday Night Live just before the event. So when's the event? 25th of March. So it'll be 4 days before that. So 21st of March, we will have a LinkedIn versus Instagram themed Monday Night Live. So make sure you join us for that one, and you'll be able to jump in and ask questions for me and Brooke. That should be a lot of fun. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good night. Cheers.